Brothers and sisters, I want you to imagine something. Imagine a man sitting in the darkness of his room staring at the ceiling. He has everything society told him would make him happy: a good job, a big house, a luxury car, maybe even fame, but something inside him feels empty. No matter how much success he achieves, no matter how much money he makes, no matter how many people praise him, his heart is restless. He tosses and turns at night, unable to silence the voice inside him that keeps whispering, "Is this all there is?" Now imagine a woman walking through life feeling lost. She has tried everything: meditation, self-help books, motivational speeches, but nothing seems to give her lasting peace. She scrolls through social media, watching others live their lives, but deep down she feels disconnected. She wonders why, despite having every opportunity in the world, she still feels like something is missing. This is not just a story, this is reality. This is what millions of people in the West are experiencing right now. They are searching for something real, something meaningful, something greater than themselves. They have been told that happiness comes from freedom, from doing whatever you want, from breaking all the rules. But what they have found is that this so-called freedom has only led to loneliness, anxiety, and depression. And then they come across Islam. At first, they might be skeptical. They have heard all the negative things in the media. They have seen Islam misrepresented over and over again, but something draws them in. Maybe they meet a Muslim at work who treats them with kindness. Maybe they hear the beautiful recitation of the Quran. Maybe they start reading about the life of Prophet Muhammad and find themselves moved by his wisdom and mercy. And so they begin to dig deeper. They open the Quran not to criticize, but to understand. They read its words, and for the first time in their lives, they feel like someone is speaking directly to their soul. They read, "Verily, in the remembrance of Allah do hearts find rest." Quran 13:28. And suddenly it clicks. The peace they had been searching for was never in wealth, never in fame, never in chasing desires. The peace they had been longing for was in submission to the one who created them. They realized that Islam is not just a religion, it is a way of life, a divine system that brings balance, discipline, and clarity. It is not about blind faith. It is about knowing why we are here, knowing what happens after death, knowing how to live a meaningful life. And this is why Islam is spreading in the West. Because the human soul, no matter where it is born, no matter what culture it comes from, recognizes the truth when it hears it. The soul knows when it has found something real. And in a world filled with distractions, illusions, and temporary pleasures, Islam stands as the only thing that brings permanent peace. Look around. Every day, people from all walks of life are accepting Islam. Doctors, teachers, athletes, celebrities, young men, elderly women, people from every background, every profession, every race. What is bringing them to Islam? It is not forced conversions. It is not pressure from society. It is the power of truth. It is the undeniable beauty of the Quran, which has remained unchanged for over 1,400 years. It is the unshakable character of Prophet Muhammad, who lived a life of mercy, strength, and justice. It is the discipline of prayer, the purification of fasting, the unity of the Ummah. And perhaps most importantly, it is the realization that nothing in this world, no amount of success, pleasure, or entertainment can replace the connection between a servant and his creator. The rise of Islam in the West is not an accident. It is not a trend. It is a divine plan unfolding before our very eyes. And for those who are paying attention, it is a sign that the truth will always rise, no matter how much people try to suppress it. And tonight, we're going to talk about it. We're going to explore why Islam is growing so fast. We're going to break down the misconceptions, the realities, the reasons why more and more people are embracing this faith. And by the end of this speech, you will see with your own eyes why Islam is the answer the world has been searching for. So open your hearts. Listen closely, because what I'm about to share with you might just change the way you see the world. Are you ready? Let's begin. Imagine a person who's achieved everything they ever wanted: wealth, success, recognition, a life filled with luxury and comfort. They have the best car, the biggest house, the highest paying job, and yet when they sit alone at night staring at the ceiling, they feel something is missing. It's a feeling they can't quite describe, an emptiness that no amount of money, fame, or pleasure seems to fill. They try to ignore it, distracting themselves with entertainment, social media, and material possessions, but no matter what they do, the void remains. This is the reality for millions of people in the West today, living in societies that promise happiness through financial success and personal freedom, but leave them feeling unfulfilled, restless, and disconnected from their purpose. In a world where everything is fast-paced, where people are constantly chasing after the next goal, the next purchase, the next relationship, many begin to wonder why none of it brings lasting peace. Depression, anxiety, and loneliness have reached unprecedented levels despite the technological advancements and comforts of modern life. People are surrounded by noise, distractions, and artificial happiness, yet deep within their hearts they yearn for something real, something meaningful, something that gives their life direction. And this is where the search for truth begins. Some turn to self-help books, others to meditation, others to temporary escapes, but the hunger inside them remains. It is in this journey of seeking answers that many come across Islam, not because someone forces them, but because their hearts are naturally drawn to something deeper than the material world. When people encounter Islam, they begin to see a different way of living, one that is based on discipline, inner peace, and submission to something greater than themselves. They see Muslims who wake up before dawn to pray, who fast with patience and devotion, who find peace in remembering their Creator. They see a faith that is not just about rituals, but about transforming one's heart, purifying one's soul, and living with a higher purpose. For someone who has spent their whole life chasing temporary pleasures, this realization is powerful. They see people who have little in terms of wealth, but carry a peace that money cannot buy, and they begin to ask themselves, what do they know that I don't? This curiosity leads them to open the Quran, to watch videos, to listen to the stories of those who have accepted Islam, and what they find amazes them. They see a book that directly speaks to their soul, verses that answer the questions they have been asking their whole lives. They find words that explain their pain, their struggles, their confusion, and most importantly, they find the solution. They read about the purpose of life, about the reality of the afterlife, about the importance of sincerity and submission. They see that Islam is not just another religion, but a complete way of life that aligns with the very nature of their existence. And for the first time in their lives, they begin to feel a peace they have never felt before. When a person seeking truth stumbles upon the Quran, something extraordinary happens. Unlike any other book, the Quran does not feel like the words of a human being. It speaks directly to the heart, addressing thoughts, emotions, and questions that people have carried within them for years. A person may open its pages out of curiosity, but as they read, they find verses that seem to answer the very concerns they have struggled with all their lives. They see a book that describes their innermost fears, their deepest doubts, and their greatest hopes with a clarity and depth that no human could have written. It is not just a collection of wisdom, it is guidance, a direct message from the Creator to His creation. And for those who have spent their lives searching for meaning, this is a moment of awakening. One of the most powerful aspects of the Quran is its undeniable proof. It does not simply ask for blind faith. It invites the reader to think, reflect, and question. It presents signs in nature, in history, in the human soul itself. It speaks of the universe, the development of the human embryo, the mountains, the oceans, the galaxies, all with astonishing accuracy, long before science confirmed these truths. It challenges the reader, asking them to find any contradiction, any error, yet none have been found for over 1,400 years. This is unlike any other scripture, and when a sincere seeker reads it, they begin to realize that this book could not have come from any human being. It must be divine. Beyond its scientific and historical accuracy, the Quran speaks to the human soul in a way that no other book can. Its words are powerful, poetic, and filled with meaning that resonates across all times and places. The way it describes the human condition, the struggles of life, and the journey toward truth is deeply personal. It acknowledges pain, hardship, and loss, yet it provides hope, patience, and a reason for every trial. It speaks to the lonely, the lost, the broken, giving them comfort and reminding them that their Creator has never abandoned them. This is something that many in the West have never experienced before. They have read books about self-help, philosophy, and spirituality, but nothing has ever spoken to their hearts the way the Quran does. For those who are skeptical, the Quran offers another unique challenge. It calls on them to produce something like it if they doubt its origin. Yet, despite centuries of attempts, no one has been able to match its linguistic beauty, depth of meaning, and profound impact. The more they study it, the more they see that this book is unlike anything else in existence. They begin to understand that it is not just an old text, it is a living miracle. And once this realization takes root in their hearts, they can no longer ignore the truth that is before them. Islam is not just a belief system, it is the undeniable word of God. In a world that glorifies instant gratification, where people are constantly told to chase their desires without restraint, Islam offers something radically different. It does not promise happiness through indulgence, it promises peace through discipline. It teaches that true contentment is not found in giving in to every temptation, but in mastering the self, in controlling impulses, in living a life of balance and purpose. And this is something that deeply resonates with people in the West who have experienced the emptiness of a life without structure, a life where desires rule over discipline, and where pleasure is mistaken for happiness. They begin to see that while society tells them to follow their hearts, Islam teaches them to refine their hearts, to purify them, to align them with something higher than fleeting desires. The daily prayers of Islam are one of the first things that attract truth seekers. In a world of distractions where people feel overwhelmed by the chaos of life, the idea of stopping everything 5 times a day to connect with God is profound. It is not just a ritual, it is a spiritual reset, a reminder of what truly matters. People who have spent their lives looking for mindfulness, meditation, and stress relief find in the Salah something far more powerful than any self-help technique. They see that this structured devotion brings discipline to the soul, teaching it consistency, humility, and patience. It is a practice that forces them to step away from the noise of the world and stand before their Creator in pure submission. Then comes fasting, something that seems difficult at first, but once experienced changes a person's entire perception of self-control. In a society where indulgence is encouraged at every turn, where food, entertainment, and desires are always within reach, fasting teaches a level of self-mastery that is truly life-changing. People who experience Ramadan for the first time often describe it as the most spiritually uplifting time of their lives. They feel a clarity of mind, a strength of will, and a connection to their purpose that they never knew was possible. They realize that Islam is not about restriction for the sake of hardship. It is about discipline for the sake of growth. Even beyond fasting and prayer, Islam provides a structured way of life that aligns with human nature. It sets boundaries not to limit but to protect. It encourages modesty, not to suppress but to uplift. It emphasizes charity, not just as a moral duty but as a purification of the soul. Every command, every guideline, every teaching in Islam is designed to bring inner peace by creating balance between the physical, emotional, and spiritual aspects of life. And for those who have spent years feeling lost, uncertain, and without direction, this structure is not a burden, it is a gift. They begin to see that Islam is not about giving up freedom, it is about finding true freedom. The freedom from being a slave to one's own desires, and instead becoming a servant of the one who created them. The rise of Islam in the West is not just happening inside mosques, it is unfolding in the digital world, in online communities, on social media platforms, and in personal conversations. Every day, people from different backgrounds are encountering Islam in ways that were never possible before. A single video, a single Quranic verse, or a single heartfelt conversation is planting seeds of faith in hearts that were once distant from religion. The power of social media has allowed Islam to be seen not through the lens of mainstream narratives, but through the voices of real Muslims, of converts sharing their journeys, of scholars explaining the wisdom of Islamic teachings, of ordinary people living their faith with sincerity and conviction. This shift is undeniable. In the past, misconceptions about Islam were easily spread because access to authentic Islamic knowledge was limited. If someone had questions, they would often receive biased or distorted answers. Today, all of that has changed. The Quran, the sayings of the Prophet, and scholarly explanations are available at the click of a button. Someone who is sincerely searching for the truth no longer has to rely on secondhand information. They can go straight to the source, and when they do, they find something astonishing. They find that Islam is not what they were told. It is not a religion of oppression or backwardness. Instead, they see its beauty, its depth, its logic, and its transformative power. What makes this even more powerful is the number of people publicly embracing Islam. These are not just ordinary individuals. They include former Christian pastors, intellectuals, celebrities, athletes, and professionals from every field. When someone sees a well-respected figure, someone who had everything, wealth, status, success, declare that they have found peace in Islam, it forces them to stop and think. Why would someone with fame and fortune willingly accept a faith that the media often portrays negatively? This curiosity leads them to explore, to listen, to research, and once the door of knowledge is opened, it becomes very difficult to ignore the truth. The stories of converts are among the most powerful tools for Dawah. They are raw, emotional, and deeply personal. People who once lived lives of indulgence, who were lost in the distractions of the world, who never believed in God, are now standing in prayer, fasting, and dedicating themselves to a faith they once knew nothing about. Their journeys inspire others, showing that Islam is not just for one culture, one ethnicity, or one group. It is for anyone who sincerely seeks guidance. These stories resonate deeply, especially with those who feel lost in their own lives, who have tried everything else and still feel empty. This is why Islam continues to spread. Despite all the opposition, despite the misconceptions, despite the challenges, the truth cannot be hidden. It shines through the words of the Quran, through the lives of those who embrace it, and through the undeniable impact it has on those who submit to its guidance. In a world filled with confusion and doubt, Islam stands as a beacon of clarity, a light that continues to reach hearts across the world. One of the most profound reasons Islam is spreading in the West is the timeless character and example of Prophet Muhammad. For many people who begin studying Islam, it is not just the Quran that convinces them, it is the life of the man who brought its message to the world. In a time when religious figures are often seen as distant, outdated, or flawed, the personality of Prophet Muhammad stands out as unmatched. He was not just a spiritual leader, but a statesman, a military commander, a friend, a husband, a father, and above all, a man of mercy and justice. His life was not lived in isolation. Every aspect of it was documented, preserved, and passed down through generations with incredible accuracy. And when people study his life with sincerity, they are left amazed. What draws people most to Prophet Muhammad is his unmatched character. They read about how he remained patient in the face of hardship, how he forgave even his greatest enemies, how he showed kindness to the weak, how he was gentle with children, how he treated women with dignity, and how he cared for the poor. In an age where people are searching for authenticity, where they are tired of leaders who preach one thing but practice another, they find in him a man who lived exactly as he taught. He did not accumulate wealth, he did not seek power for himself, and he did not live in luxury. Even at the height of his success, when he had the ability to live in a palace, he chose a life of simplicity, sleeping on a straw mat, sharing whatever little food he had, and constantly giving in charity. This level of humility and sincerity is rare, and it leaves a deep impression on those who study his life. Another thing that captivates people is the way he transformed society. When he began his mission, Arabia was a land filled with injustice, tribal warfare, racism, oppression of women, and exploitation of the poor were all deeply ingrained in the culture. But through his message, he changed everything. He brought justice where there was oppression, unity where there was division, and morality where there was corruption. He took a people who were drowning in ignorance and turned them into the most disciplined, knowledgeable, and ethical society the world had seen. This transformation was not achieved through force, but through wisdom, patience, and an unshakable commitment to truth. Many who come across his teachings are surprised by how progressive and fair they are. They see that he gave women rights at a time when they were treated as property, that he established justice at a time when the strong abused the weak, and that he emphasized knowledge and education in a time when most of the world was drowning in ignorance. Every word he spoke, every action he took was filled with wisdom, mercy, and balance. And the more people learn about him, the more they realize that he was not just a leader of his time, he was a leader for all of humanity, for all time. One of the most powerful reasons Islam continues to spread in the West is its unshakable foundation of pure monotheism. In a world where many religious traditions have been altered, where faith has been mixed with man-made philosophies, and where people struggle to understand the true nature of God, Islam presents the simplest yet most profound truth: there is no God but Allah. This message resonates deeply with those who are tired of complex theological debates, those who seek a direct relationship with their Creator without intermediaries, and those who want a belief system that aligns with both their heart and their intellect. When people read the Quran, they see that Islam does not present a confusing or contradictory concept of God. It does not say that God is a man, that he has weaknesses, or that he is divided into different persons. Instead, it declares that Allah is one, eternal, absolute, beyond human limitations, and completely unique. This concept of Tawheed, pure monotheism, is what makes Islam stand apart from every other belief system. It satisfies both the rational mind and the spiritual heart. It removes all doubts and uncertainties about who God is, and for those who have spent years searching for clarity, this realization is life-changing. Islam also offers something that many religions have lost: a direct personal connection with God. There are no priests, no confessions, no complicated rituals. Just a human being turning to their Creator in sincere worship. They do not need an intercessor to speak to Allah on their behalf. They can raise their hands in supplication at any moment, in any place, knowing that He hears them, understands them, and responds to them. This level of intimacy and accessibility is something that many people have longed for, but never found in other spiritual paths. Another reason this concept of God attracts people is its consistency. Islam does not change its teachings based on time, place, or culture. The message of monotheism that was revealed to Adam, Noah, Abraham, Moses, and Jesus is the same message that was revealed to Muhammad. There are no contradictions, no alterations, no confusion. The core belief remains pure and unchanged, standing strong despite the passage of time. In contrast, many in the West have witnessed how religious teachings have been altered to fit modern trends, how scriptures have been changed, and how core beliefs have been compromised. They see that Islam is different. It does not bend to societal pressures or human desires. It stands firm on truth, unchanged and unshaken. For those who accept Islam, this belief in the absolute oneness of God brings a peace they have never experienced before. They no longer feel the need to seek answers in vague spiritual ideas or in traditions that have lost their original message. They find comfort in knowing that their purpose is clear, their Creator is near, and their faith is built on truth that will never change. This realization alone is enough to transform a person's life, filling their heart with certainty, tranquility, and an unbreakable connection with the one who created them. As we reflect on everything we have discussed, one thing becomes undeniably clear. Islam is not just spreading in the West because of chance or coincidence. It is spreading because people are searching for truth, for purpose, for something greater than themselves. They have seen the emptiness of a life without meaning, the confusion of a world without direction, and the instability of a belief system that constantly changes with time. And in Islam, they find the answers they have been looking for. They find a book, the Quran, that speaks directly to their hearts, challenging their minds while soothing their souls. They find a way of life that brings discipline, balance, and peace in a world filled with distractions and chaos. They find a faith that is not based on blind following, but on reason, reflection, and undeniable truth. They see the character of the Prophet Muhammad, a man whose example continues to inspire hearts across centuries. And above all, they find the purest concept of God, one that connects them directly to their Creator without confusion, without intermediaries, without distortion. Despite all the misconceptions, despite all the opposition, Islam continues to shine. It is not spread through force, but through the undeniable power of truth. It enters hearts not through coercion, but through conviction. No matter how much it is challenged, it only grows stronger. No matter how much it is misrepresented, the sincerity of its followers speaks louder. And no matter how much the world changes, its message remains timeless, relevant, and unshaken. To those who are still searching, I say this: keep seeking, keep questioning, keep looking for the truth. And to those who have already found it, let us be a living example of the beauty of Islam through our character, our kindness, and our sincerity. Because in the end, it is not just our words that spread this faith, it is the way we live it. May Allah guide those who are searching, strengthen those who have found the truth, and keep our hearts firm upon His path. Thank you all for your time, your open hearts, and your willingness to listen. May we continue to grow in knowledge, in faith, and in our connection with our Creator. Jazakum Allahu khairan, and may Allah bless you all.